Hello. We had the great honor of interviewing Miss Bettijo Cook Trawick. She is a beautiful, lovely woman. When I interviewed Miss Trawick, I found her very funny and delightful, but her loveliness you just could not miss. She walked with Martin Luther King, Andrew Young, and many more, and she fought right beside them for our rights, her and her family. We had the great honor of interviewing Miss Bettijo Cook Trawick right here at the Millennium Gate Museum. Hello, this is Letha Bass with Target Word Prayer Ministry. Please subscribe on our YouTube channel. Our focus word today is, what kind of flower am I? Just think about it. What kind of flower are you? It is a metaphor of a lady's life. And today we have with us Bettijo Cook Trawick.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to have you here with us.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you.
Nice to meet you.
And I hope I don't get out of turn.
You won't. So the first question to you is, what kind of flower are you?
Well, you and I talked about that, and
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's a camellia. Now, camellia is every color. They can be solid white, solid pink, red. They're variegated. They're every color.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what I am, every color.
Oh, I love it. You can identify with it.
I think so.
I love it. Now, I understand that your mother was a gardener.
She was.
That is awesome.
It did not wash off on me.
And that you established a period garden at Tully Smith House Restoration. Is that correct?
Now then, 50
Yeah.
years has come about, and we now refer to it as the Smith Farm. Yeah,
Wow.
you know, it's a farm.
It's a farm.
And we have crops there. We grow corn and potatoes and I've forgotten what all, onions. And we have a cellar there to put our excess crops in for the next season. So, and our flowers are lovely. They are 19th century research flowers, mostly roses.
Oh,
Isn't that interesting?
that is interesting.
I don't know why we did that, but we did.
Wow. In your earlier life, how does your life represent like a flower that is planted in the ground or in a pot? And how did you grow up? Share with us how you grew up, where you grew up.
That's
Where you
such
from?
an interesting thought.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a smart girl.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'll really go back to my middle 20s, I think. I graduated from college in 48 and had a great job at Rich's department store.
Okay.
And but in my mid-20s, I went to Williamsburg, Virginia, and there is the Great Restoration.
Oh.
And it really took me to heart. And I went back to Williamsburg every year for 25 years trying to learn something. And preservation in Atlanta, Georgia was zero. We had lost the great library, the terminal station. I used to ride the Nancy Hanks to the terminal station all the time. And the Union Station, and it was a very handsome building. It had and it columns down the front, looked more like a temple.
Wow.
And then we had gorgeous houses up and down Peachtree. They're all gone. And when they told me that they were going to tear down the Fox, that put a wrench through my heart.
Wow. So what did you do to assist with the Fox?
After getting over the huge shock, the gentleman in charge, he was a professor at Georgia Tech in architecture. And he said, they told us that they were going to blow it up by Saturday. And he said, I think I can get the demolition stopped. So would you all meet me here Tuesday at 2:30?
Okay.
So like 4 or 5 of us met him.
Okay.
And so we started then trying to do something.
Yeah.
And mine was publicity.
All right.
So Memzo, my son, was 12, 14 years old. He couldn't drive.
Yeah.
And I said, why don't y'all get out there in the backyard? You're always making signs for something. And just save the Fox.
Wow.
So they did. And I give the children full credit for helping in those early days.
Wow.
Because nobody cared. Nobody cared that Fox was going to blow up. And the children did. And they marched back and forth, and of course the parents took them to help.
Right.
Or an older sister or brother took them to help. And they kept it up. And the newspapers would say things like, it was a great building and blah, blah. But it's just past its time. And the children kept marching. And so that meant we had publicity.
Right.
So I give them full credit.
That's very modest of you. But it takes the inspiration of a mother like yourself.
I don't know about that. It seems like all my life, I had exceptional parents and grandparents.
Okay.
And they were always volunteers. Let me tell you something.
Come on.
When I was, I don't know, very young, I'm a Depression child.
Okay.
And you know the banks were closed. There was no money.
Right.
There was no food.
Yeah.
And they had what were called soup kitchens.
Yes.
And my mother took me. She would say, well, you can clean the table or something. Well, what she meant was I could see what was happening in the real world and make sure that I would be able to do something to help like she did.
Yeah.
So I was always in a situation with my parents or grandparents doing good things.
Yeah.
So it was just up to me to do something.
Yeah. And that leads to my next question. That parallels right into the next question. And when as you was a young lady and when you was growing up, your parents brought you up on giving and giving back through your heart. What message would you share with a young woman of today's society that is striving to succeed in today's society? What message would you give her?
Hard because the times are so different.
Yeah.
And does she have children? I would honestly say you have to start out when you're younger.
Okay.
Learning how to give.
Yeah.
And if you learn that, then it goes on through your life. But if you decide to pick it up when you're 30 or 40, that's good.
Yeah.
But by that time, you have not had responsibility of organizing committees and making things work. Yeah. Sometimes they work fine, sometimes they don't.
Right.
And you have to be prepared for those that don't, too.
Right. That's good. Now, I'm going to ask you another question from giving. I love that you emphasize that you have to learn how to give and know how to give. what are the things that goes back into your life that you see comes out of giving? What are those things that comes out of giving when you know how to give up
I
yourself?
guess everything.
Yeah.
I would think everything. I would think that has molded me
Yeah.
as an individual.
Yeah.
So that's the best answer I can give you.
Yeah.
There's not much of one, but I think that's it.
Yeah, but that's everything. That is everything. That, when we give of ourselves, it plants like a flower. It's just like a flower blooming. It keeps blooming and keep blooming.
Oh, we sure hope so.
Yeah, and it's like a flower that is standing, and when it matures, when a flower matures and it's at its full zest, and the sun is hitting it like you.
Well, I don't know whether it's like me or not, but I like the idea.
Yeah, I love it. And our last question to you, when we reference back to the flower, a camellia that you love, and you told me that the camellia, it grows in the winter time. And
Well, it doesn't come out in the winter.
Okay.
It comes out if you're in South Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You can depend on it for Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay.
And then if you're like Atlanta, the temperature is a little bit cooler.
Mm-hmm.
You might get a few by Thanksgiving.
Okay.
But after that, it's just gorgeous.
It's just
And
gorgeous.
Valentine's Day, oh, it's a beauty.
Wow.
Everything's in bloom.
Wow. Thank you for sharing with us your beauty today. And that it will be an inspiration to every woman that looks at this or see this video, and that it will be an encouragement to every woman. Because one important thing you shared was about giving and how it comes back into our lives. So thank you for being the beautiful flower that you are, a camellia, and that you sit here on Target Word Prayer Ministry, on Target Word Prayer Ministry YouTube channel. Thank you. I'm gonna say
Thank you. I had a good time, even though you make me sound special. I'm not.
I love it. You are so special. Do you mind sharing with everyone before we end this? How old are you?
I am 96 years old. That's a long time.
That's a long time for a flower to
Well,
be
a flower
standing.
would have been dead long time ago. And I'm on my way out. So that's all okay too. That's the way it happens.
Yeah.
Seasons come, seasons go.
Yeah, and that's how a flower is. It has its seasons, doesn't it? Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
We had a good time.
We did. Thank you everyone for watching Target Word Prayer Ministry YouTube channel. And we want to give a special thank you to Bettijo Cook Trawick. We want to thank her for her gracious beauty of a flower, a camille. And we want to thank her for taking the time to share of herself with other women on growing up in their success and how to move forward in life. It is an honor to receive wisdom, rich wisdom, as Miss Bettijo Cook Trawick. Thank you. See you next time. Is that good enough?
Yeah, see you next time.